Good evening, everybody, and welcome to City Council meeting on Tuesday, June 9th, 2015 at 6:10 p.m. It's good to have you all here. I'm going to call to order the regular City Council meeting, Public Housing Authority and Successor Agency, RDA meeting, all at the same time, and we're going to start with the flag salute, and it's going to begin, right, Sue, with a presentation by Reserve Enlisted Training Corps.
Yeah, he said it. That's what he
All right.
said.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father God, we humbly come before you, thanking you for all these young people that are here tonight, the ones that are going off to college and starting a career and a new future, the ones in the military reserve that's going to be talking tonight, Father, a program that is very good for teenagers and a worthwhile program. And Father, all the other people here in this room tonight, we just ask a special blessing on them that they took the time to come out tonight and be here. And with the council, as we discuss the budget, and with everything that's going on tonight, and it's just going to be a great night, Father. And we're so thankful that we have a council that gives so much back to the community, and we are just blessed to know each and every one of them. And Father, I ask a special blessing on all of them, and you keep your watch care over them. And for those who are sick tonight, Father, in our family, in our city family, just be with them. Just help them get over their illnesses, and just help everybody to come back and be a part of us again, because when one body is out, we do miss them. So, Father, tonight, just keep your watch care over us and your loving arms around us, and I ask these things in thy precious name. Amen.
We have a roll call.
Director Bach?
Here.
Director Mahar?
Here.
Councilmember Director Rodriguez?
Here.
Councilmember Director Gomez?
Here.
Councilmember Director Farfan?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairmember Rios? She will be here shortly. Mayor Chairmember Bruce?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, so we have some presentations and proclamations this evening. Quite a few of them, as a matter of fact. Let's go ahead and go down there. And first of all, let's meet our Mayor's Youth Walk of Achievement recipients. Well, we are very pleased once again each year to present some outstanding students with some nice checks. How about that? It's our privilege to be able to offer these checks to you for your outstanding educational accomplishments. And so I have some here. It says on this check, this is not an actual check, but we're giving them to you nonetheless. There's a real check behind this. Actually, though, I understand that if you go to the bank, if it didn't say not an actual check, and you take them a check of this size, they still have to cash it, right? Educators know that. All right, and so I'm going to call your name. I want you to come up, and once you come up, I want you to stay up here. Don't run off, because we're going to get pictures of all of you, okay? So the recipients of the $1,000 award for the Mayor's Youth Walk of Achievement is Eduardo Aldana. And here, sir, is your fake check. Congratulations. Ramona Arachiga. Sitlali Espinosa. Good handshake. Celeste Galvez. Luis Gomez. Congratulations, Luis. Beverly Hernandez. Dalia Mariaca. Is that right? Congratulations. Diana Martinez. Congratulations. Cynthia Perez. Reyes Rocha. Christian Rodriguez. Erendida Soto. Carla Torres. Is Blanca Vergara here? Brianna Santana? No. Cindy Trejo. Brenda Vallejo. There's a lot of them, huh? We have a couple of students that are out tonight at GAR's senior night. Sophia Archega is one of them. She's not here tonight. James Rodriguez. Congratulations, James. Is Bianca Villegas here? Yeah, good. Jasmine Figueroa. Brianna Perez. And the other one that is not here tonight at senior night at GAR is Stephanie Rodriguez. Let's have a hand for you guys. Look at this. Look at all this green. All right, for sure want to get a picture of you guys.
For sure.
Quick, before Mrs. Rios. You can be on this side of Mrs. Roman.
Now, I know that some of you are graciously walking away with the wrong check. So who are you? Because we have some checks right here. Jasmine Figueroa, where are you at? Where, you can't have both the checks, though. Oh, all right. Is that the only one? And everyone's good now? That was the only one we did wrong? All right, good. Well, that's not too bad. That was a lot of checks. Okay, now, Sue, what do they do? Cash those in for the real thing? This was Toronto. So they present those, or you're sending it to them in the mail? Is that how it goes? The real ones? Because it says this is not a real check on the front. Yeah, okay. Well, congratulations, you guys. Clap for them again. Our wonderful students. I had the privilege of being invited to a graduation recently at Cal State Fullerton, which is where also my brother graduated a long time ago, long time ago, with a social work degree as well. And this guy, I happened to see him at a 90th birthday party of a friend, and he came up and he says, "You remember me?" And he then went on to tell us that many things had changed in his life, many good things had come about in his life, and he was graduating from Cal State Fullerton. And he was not only graduating from Cal State Fullerton, but he was graduating with a Bachelor's of Science degree in social work, or human services, cum laude. And grew up in Hawaiian Gardens. Got into a little bit of trouble in Hawaiian Gardens, as some do, and decided that he was done with trouble and decided instead that he wanted to do something very productive with his life. And so I was able to attend that graduation. It was a great experience along with my wife, and thought that, that this presentation should be made to this exemplary man in our city. So Mr. Darwin White, will you please come up and receive this? And I want to read this to you. It says, City of Hawaiian Gardens, Certificate of Recognition. The City Council of the City of Hawaiian Gardens presents a certificate to Darwin White, Hawaiian Gardens resident. The City of Hawaiian Gardens City Council congratulates you on the achievement of graduating from Cal State Fullerton with a Bachelor's of Science degree, cum laude, in social work, presented this 9th day of June, 2015, and signed by me. We are proud of you, and we just want to say thank you for showing everybody, the homeboys in the community, as well as the kids growing up, that this is what can happen when someone decides to put themselves into a whole new path. And so why don't you say something to us for it? Can you do that?
I'd like to thank you, the City of Hawaiian Gardens. I don't know, like Barry said, you know, I went the wrong way for a minute. You know, but I was born and raised here in Hawaiian Gardens. I was born here before Hawaiian Gardens was incorporated as a city. I'm 51 years old currently. But I decided to change my life, and I went to school at Cypress College after I got out of prison. I went to Cypress College. I got accepted at Cal State Fullerton. I graduated at Cal State Fullerton. I'm currently on the wait list for the master's program at Cal State Fullerton. And I hope to use my skills that I've learned to help at-risk youth, keep them away from gangs, prison, alcohol and substance abuse, homelessness, dropout rate, all that. I want to improve that. I want to give back. So I thank you all for honoring me with this, and God bless you all.
And I want to thank you, Darwin, for inviting us to that graduation. It was great. It was really an honor. Let's get a picture of Darwin over here. I saw her husband. I didn't see her. Mary, you here? Ah, you are. Well, my vision is getting worse by the year. We had the opportunity to attend, well, Mr. Rodriguez and myself attended Supervisor Kanabe's Older American Awards this year. And it's out of 21 different honorees. We had one from the City of Hawaiian Gardens that was honored there, just for being somebody who gives of themselves. And so, Mary Cabrera, would you come on up and receive this? We had helicopters flying overhead that day and bomb scare and everything, but we're still here. So I want to read this to you. It says, City of Hawaiian Gardens presents a certificate of recognition to Mary Cabrera, Hawaiian Gardens resident, older American recipient. The City of Hawaiian Gardens City Council congratulates you on being recognized by the Honorable Supervisor Don Kanabe as one of 21 outstanding older Americans who volunteer for their community, presented this 9th day of June 2015 and signed by me. Congratulations. And I think you said you had something that you wanted to say, right? Yeah.
I want to give thanks to everybody that helped nominate me for this award. I enjoyed it in LA, but this gives me a greater privilege from Hawaiian Gardens to receive it from my city. And I want to thank Pastor Barry Bruce and Mary Rodriguez for going with me that day and sitting at my table. Made me feel special. And Anna Amaro that did the work and took us over there and everything. So I'm just very blessed to get this, and I want to thank everybody for it. Thank you so much.
So let's have a hand for all these recipients one last time. We have a couple of more presentations, but not up here, right? We have a presentation from, is Manuel here? You want to come on up and give us your presentation about your good news you have? Yeah.
Thank you. Well, for you in the audience that don't know who I am, I'm Manuel Nava. I'm a forever resident, as long as a 20-year head boxing coach for the City of Hawaiian Gardens. First off, I want to just thank council for you guys helping and assisting for Kevin and myself to go to the Pan Am Games qualifier in Tijuana. First, I will start out that we qualified, so that was very good. And like I said, we were out approximately about 30 countries that represented out there in Tijuana. We stayed at the Gran Hotel de Tijuana. I had never stayed there, by the way. I've never been in Tijuana 7 days either. And it was a beautiful experience, that just interacting with all these different countries, and the bottom line of Kevin competing to the utmost. That I don't doubt this young man's ability, but sometimes when you go to tournaments to this level, it can be the nervousness. You've never been there, and just the stage is that much, a little higher. Well, anyways, I have a couple of these that I want to hand out to you guys so you guys can see what the rankings were. Kevin represented on the first page what is the 60 kilograms. He actually came out for placing. He placed fifth. At the top of the 60 kilograms, it says seven people would qualify in his weight class. He actually took the fifth spot. So there was two gentlemen underneath him. The main thing that he actually fought the kid that won the whole tournament, and the coaches from Guatemala they wanted to send their thank you to the City of Hawaiian Gardens for helping and assisting Kevin to go to the games. They were very impressed with how he competed, because the gentleman that won the whole tournament, his name is Luis Angel Cabrera from Venezuela. We gave him the toughest match of anybody in the tournament. We actually had the final that was set in the quarterfinals, not in the finals, because the other gentlemen, the ones that he fought from the other countries, he had a little bit of an easier time. So it was too bad that it was in the quarterfinals and not set for the finals. But I'm going to let Kevin speak. That I think Kevin says if we can meet him again, Coach, we're going to beat him. So I'm going to let him say a couple of words. And thank you guys very much.
Well, first of all, I want to thank God. I want to thank you, City of Hawaiian Gardens, for the opportunity and for the support. I don't take it lightly. We had a tough fight, it was a tough competition, but we came up strong. We were able to qualify. Now, like I said, we're just gonna work harder and definitely come back with the gold medal from Canada, and that's the goal right now. Like I said, I was born in Guatemala, made in Guatemala, but I was raised right here in Hawaiian Gardens, and forever I would have it on my heart. And like I said, I truly appreciate all the support, and like I said, this is just the beginning, and there's a lot more to come.
Usually, I know it's a little hard for you guys to get me to sit down, but I just wanted to say that last thing, Kevin did report to a lot of newspapers in Guatemala, and all the newspapers, he also told them to print, also thinking, for him to represent Guatemala, but also he wanted him to put in the papers that they had to print to thank Hawaiian Gardens, that's where he grew up at, that's where supported him, and that's where his boxing skills came from. Even though he was happy to represent Guatemala, I tell him, when we go to Canada, we're going to have to make you a shirt, born in Guatemala, but schooled in Hawaiian Gardens. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for bringing that to us, and congratulations again. You worked hard for it.
Thank you.
We have a presentation now by Chief of Staff Jackie Thomas from the Reserve Enlisted Training Course regarding a youth military program for youth.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me coming out. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Jack Thomas. I represent the Reserve Enlisted Training Corps. Our cadet, well, should I say, my cadets have been representing Long Beach in the Hawaiian Gardens Parade for 2 years, and I think this is our third color guard that we've done since we've been helping out in Hawaiian Gardens. What I'm here to do today is present my program to the City of Hawaiian Gardens. I sketched out some rough numbers that we could present to the City of Hawaiian Gardens, our program, free of cost to the City of Hawaiian Gardens. Now, with that being said, there are costs to the individuals, but I would like to give you guys the startup cost and a couple of our brochures for each of the members to have, so you guys can take a look, where I have a couple of my cadets tell you what it's like to be a member of the Reserve Enlisted Training Corps. First, I'd like to say the Reserve Enlisted Training Corps is a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We are incorporated in the state of California. We are recognized by the federal government as a 501c3, so we are a nonprofit. So any donations that we will receive go straight to the units itself. We do not have a corporate office. We're all volunteers. So at this time, I would like to introduce Cadet Staff Sergeant Andrew Villabazo.
Good evening. Like you said, I'm Cadet Staff Sergeant Andrew Villabazo. I'm the battalion commander of Army ROTC Wolfpack Battalion. What I do basically is take charge of all the kids, and so far, as I can tell, everybody there seems to be loving it. I'm loving it. Should be McDonald's. And what we do, I take pride in. As you can see, I didn't get to where I was just by messing around and all that. I take it seriously, to the heart. What we do is we take troubled youth, we take them out of the streets, we teach them the values of leadership, honor, and integrity. We teach them even more. We abide by the regular training of the Army, but we're open to any other military branches. This program is basically if they want to get back on track, and if it comes in handy if you want to go into any service branch. Me personally, I want to be an engineer because it's just what I love. And so this program has done to me, I've been here 2.5 years. I'm the highest ranking cadet and the youngest cadet to ever reach this rank. And, well, about 2 years ago, before I joined this program, I was a mess, afraid of talking to crowds, I was the exact opposite, sorry, of confident. I wasn't a leader. I didn't talk much. I didn't have a voice. But when I joined this program, they taught me the skills necessary to become a great person. Now I'm in charge of 20 strong cadets, along with the help of my cadet executive officer, Cadet Sergeant Anya Henriksen, who I would like to invite up here with me. And I do this program. I have received the training to become successful. And really, I don't want to focus on my change as much. I like to hear that most of the cadets were coming from bad places, and through this program, they were able to change their life, go around. We help them get off the path with the dark future that awaits them at the end. And so I would like my Cadet XL to say a couple words. Go ahead, Anya.
Good evening. My name is Cadet Sergeant Anya Henriksen. It has been 3 years I have began Reserve Enlisted Training Corps. It has been an amazing experience, and I would like to take this moment to tell you about the program, what it has been, how it has done to me. It may be difficult to believe, but I was not the most outspoken cadet you see before you today. On my first day, I was nervous. I was excited to be part of this program, but I did not know what to expect. I was concerned that I would not fit in, and I was worried that I would have a difficulty making friends. When I first walked onto the base, the unit was a little bit smaller than it is today. It gave me the opportunity to grow with the program and make friends quickly. Shortly after I joined, I met an amazing cadet, Cadet Staff Sergeant Andrew Villavalzo. He was a little bit shorter back then, as we all were different before we joined our program. I was disrespectful to my own family, and I had a hard time respecting friends and trusting other people. And this program changed me, and I was very thankful for that. With the little help of my Lieutenant Colonel Jackie Thomas, we would go out recruiting, and we would recruit in front of Walmart, and we would recruit in front of theaters, and I have to admit, it was an amazing feeling talking to other kids in our uniforms. I have learned to become a better leader. It has been hard. It still is. I still have a long way to go, but I know I am at the right place to improve my leadership skills. Every day, I thank God for giving me the responsibilities of a leader. Also, every day, I ask God why He has cursed me with these responsibilities as a leader. Yes, it is a blessing and a curse, but looking at what I can contribute and how I can improve makes it all worth it. I encourage everyone here to jump at the opportunity to lead and lead well. I feel that the responsibilities have made me a better daughter, a better sister, and a better friend. There are many opportunities to learn here at RATC. For example, every single time I would mess up, or when anyone of the cadets would mess up, we always learn. I say that jokingly, but seriously, it gives me the opportunity to learn. We give the opportunity to learn our mistakes and then go out and teach others what we had learned to prevent what our mistakes were. We challenge each other, and we are 10 times more prepared together than off by ourselves. Before I joined, I had a hard time trusting my friends, but it isn't a problem in this program. These cadets and these recruits, I treat them as if they are my family, because they are, in my eyes, they are. We are brothers and sisters, all combined. So time has gone by, and a lot of cadets have come, and good cadets have gone. Some cadets were bad too, but they were also gone too. My point is that this program is growing every day. This program is getting better every little by little, which means I'm growing and getting better, a little bit better every day. What does this program mean to me? Well, it is more than a simple program. It's special. This program is one of a kind. I have a personal mission, and I want you to join me on this mission. We are growing. We are getting better. By the time I leave, I hope to see this program 100 times better, and better than the day I came on my first day. Then we could all look back and look at what we accomplished and say, well done. Thank you for bringing us out here too.
Yeah, we've all been nervous. So if you had a chance to look at the brochure, our program, though we wear the active Army uniform with slight differences, we're just like a JROTC program, but after school. Unlike the JROTC programs that are constantly being shut down throughout the country, especially hit hard in California, our program's after school, which means we don't have no red tape to deal with. Only problems that we foresee now is getting the kids to come to our program before the gangs get to them, before they get to drugs, before they get to alcoholism. We teach anti-drugs, we teach anti-gang, we teach anti-drinking and driving. Our partners are Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and recently today, I don't know if you guys actually have that here in the city, the Short Stop program, which is also a program similar to us, which I do have the brochures. They couldn't be here tonight because it was such short notice, but it's a juvenile crime deterrent program that actually works in the jail systems of Long Beach City. So that's something else that we're actually doing, where every day I get a call, I have a 7-year-old, I have a 10-year-old, I don't know what to do with my kid. Well, unfortunately, because we're an after-school program, we don't have the facilities to take on all the at-risk kids that we would like to. Thus, we have to create partnerships. And today I'm here to ask Hawaiian Gardens to create that partnership with us and to expand, come across the freeway and say, hey, let's start a program here in Hawaiian Gardens. I gave you guys the general cost of what the parents pay. I know the mayor and I had spoke briefly about the actual cost. Well, I can tell you this uniform that I'm standing in right now cost me $500. I do not have $500. Our program has been around 9 years. It took me 9 years to get this uniform on my body that you see here. Granted, it took me 2 years to design it, but other than that, it took 9 years to get it. The uniforms that you see now, this is our Class B uniform, but it does come with a coat. That is the first line for $325. The camouflage uniform that you guys probably seen before, the ACUs, it's $275. Everything from head to toe, including the T-shirts. It's a $65 registration fee. What I didn't put in this breakdown, the $65 covers their manuals, their ball caps, their insurance, which is $10. Our insurance, I want to say it's a $50,000 accidental coverage. Basically, if they fall out of a Huey, they're covered. Granted, we hope that never happens, but we have been invited to do some pretty unique things, but because we didn't have their proper insurance at that time, which we now have, at least a $2 million coverage so we can go to Camp Pendleton and any other military base on top of the already accidental insurance. And all this is only for $10 a month is what we do. When I say free to the city, all we ask for is a place to meet. When it rains, kids have to learn how to march. When it's dry, they need to be outside. We need storage. If we can buy these uniforms in bulk, we have to put them somewhere. We need an office space where we can lock up their private social security numbers and their personal information. We just can't have their stuff just sitting in the file cabinet. So we need secure facilities. That is the only cost, if that costs the city of anything, to Hawaiian Gardens. But other than that, we would take on that burden. We work with the parents. We have a layaway plan. We never ask no one to come up and just pay this kind of money up front. I couldn't do it, and I don't ask my parents to do it. Most of our parents come, should I say, we're 97% Latino. I don't want it that way. I prefer the Rainbow Coalition, but right now, the Latino base that we have is very strong, very supportive of our program. As you see, Cadet Henderson, her father's in our program, herself, and her little cousin. It really is a family organization, and we are really one big happy family. So we would like to open up to any questions you guys may have to us. I'm here, shoot. All right, I like it that way. Well, anyway, yes.
I was just going to say, does anybody have any questions?
I just think that your program sounds really amazing, and it would be great to host you here because we wouldn't have to worry about transportation. I noticed you guys are located in Long Beach. Mr. Marquez, do you have any ideas, or can we contact him later for the possibilities? This is an exciting program that you brought us, and if I can assist you in making it a success, it would be great.
I welcome any contact, any questions in the future. My phone number is the 323 number on the back of the flyers. Also, we have an email, Facebook, and a website. Thank you very much.
We appreciate your presentation today, and we also appreciated your presentation at the Memorial Day event and tonight. Thank you so much for coming. We have a presentation by Bashir now on the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast and the awards dinner that we had just recently. So let's watch that.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the first annual Mayor's Prayer Breakfast.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for those who have made it today. We ask that your blessings be upon everyone here. Father God, we ask that your spirit be upon this city. May you just bless this city from on high.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
And God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Let's pray. Lord, thank you for this gathering. Thank you for these people who have come, Lord, to seek your help in our daily lives, in the lives of the people in our city, those that protect our city, those, Lord, that lead our city. And Lord, us as individuals who are within this city, we are the leaders of our families. We are people that our friends look at. Lord, help us to be people that are after your own heart.
Well, Darla, when I'm afraid, I pray to God for his protection and peace. Do you pray, Darla?
No, David. You know I don't.
Well, if you would seek God as your master, then he'll protect you from evil, just like you and I protect Sheba and Jumbo. If we stay close to him, then he'll take care of us. Pray with me, Darla.
We humans in this zoo that we live in, we have the potential to do great good or great evil for our city, for our families, for our nation, for our world. We are the problem and we are the solution. And that is why gathering together like this is so important.
You're the God of this city. You're the King of these people. You're the Lord of this nation. You're the light in this darkness. You're the hope to the hopeless. You're the peace to the restless. You are.
I came here today to just encourage you to achieve your purpose. Your purpose as assigned at the Westminster Conference. A long time ago, the Bible says the chief end of man, or man's purpose, is to glorify God and to enjoy him forever. So that will be my prayer for you as I leave here. Don't grab serpents. Glorify God and enjoy him forever.
What I would like to ask you to do is, as this music plays in the background, is I would like for you to either individually, on your own, to just simply bow your head where you're at and pray and ask God to touch our city, to ask God to touch individuals that you know. Maybe you know some people who are sick right now. Maybe you know somebody who's suffering with addiction. Maybe you saw a homeless person the other day, gave them $5 or something, and you're thinking about them right now. Maybe it's a child. Maybe it's somebody who's elderly and alone. Maybe it's a particular leader in the city. Whatever it might be, I would like for you to just bow your head where you're at and just spend a few minutes in silence, forgetting those around you and just simply lifting up a prayer to the Lord. All right, well, thank you very much for your prayers. Thank you for coming here today. We have this gigantic chain that has been put together, and your prayers linked into this chain. And we're going to ask right now that God will just take these prayers and that He will lift them up, that we will lift them up to Him. He knows what they are. He made your hand that wrote them, and your heart that beats with life. He made your mind that thought these thoughts, and so He knows these prayers. We're going to close with one last song, because I always like to close with songs.
One Lord, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. Everybody say, one Lord, one heart, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and we will feel alright.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the City of Hawaiian Gardens Annual Scholarship Dinner, recognizing the youth, adult, and Miss Hawaiian Gardens recipients. My name is Steve Gomez. I am the Director of the Human Services Department, so on behalf of the city, welcome.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Let's take a moment first to acknowledge all the parents and students that are here. Please give them a hand of applause. Thank you. You are definitely the most important here today because you are definitely our future.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's an exciting night. I want to first of all thank and congratulate the City of Hawaiian Gardens for giving away, I believe it's $52,000 in scholarships to students from the area, both high school students as well as students, adult students who are returning to school. So the opportunity that the City of Hawaiian Gardens is providing you is obviously an important opportunity, and it helps to sort of restore the promise that California made, at least to people in my generation, to provide a high quality, low cost education. That being said, the City of Hawaiian Gardens shouldn't go at it alone. It shouldn't be their responsibility only to ensure that college is affordable for folks, either for adults or for returning students. It's my responsibility as well, as your representative in the State Assembly.
Artesia High School has come a long way, but it hasn't done it alone. We have all done it together. It's not about what we have done as a staff, it's what the students have done. All our students have gone a long, long way. I was just sitting at an assembly, actually we have sat a couple of assemblies this year, and our stage has gotten too small to actually put all the students that have receiving awards. It's to the point that it's really crowded and they got to kind of squeeze in as they're receiving all the AP awards, all the medals, everything they're receiving there this year.
We will begin with the 2015 Miss Hawaiian Garden presentations. I want to wish good luck to our 4 candidates.
It would be an honor to be a representative of the little city with a big heart. Everything I have experienced through Hawaiian Gardens has only led me to want to contribute back to it.
To tell you the truth, I really didn't write a speech because I believe that this should be coming from your heart. And honestly, I love doing anything that the city has to offer, such as the youth programs, because I grew up with the youth programs, and it helped me stay off the streets.
Growing up in the city of Hawaiian Gardens has made me the young lady I am today. Coming from Mexican roots, I was taught and raised to be as humble as I can be. Thanks to my parents who migrated from Mexico, I learned to appreciate education and to help those in need of the help around me.
As the eldest of 4 children, I strive to set the example and always tell them to follow their dreams. Today, I am actually following one of mine. 3 years ago today, I sat in your chairs as I watched the previous Miss Hawaiian Gardens be crowned. That day, I walked out inspired, and I told myself, I will keep striving and I will keep pushing to become a better person, to grow up and be an inspiration for the community.
I've been teaching at FERI for the last 8 years, and I grew up in this community. I went to FERI as a student. I want to tell you a little bit about the successes in my life, and it's funny because I'm standing here before you talking about what I've done in my life, and there's so many people in my life that have been there to support me and guide me throughout the way.
As we've been hearing over and over again tonight, everybody's talking about giving and donating your time and helping others. And what I'm here tonight to speak of is a person who epitomizes just that. That's, she lived in the city of Hawaiian Gardens for a short 10 years, but she spent practically all of that 10 years helping others. And unfortunately, a few months ago, she lost her battle with cancer, and she's no longer with us. She's now with her Father in heaven.
I will begin by presenting the category of academics.
Before I go ahead and recognize those individuals in the field of athletics, I just want to set a special thanks to all the parents. Parents, you are such a critical part of everything the children have achieved thus far. So if everyone can give all the parents a recognition and say thank you.
Because I have a pleasure to announce the winners in the category of civics.
We will now recognize the recipients of the Adult Scholarship Program. The Princess Scholarship receives a $1,000 scholarship, and Miss Hawaiian Gardens will receive a $2,000 scholarship. I will first announce our Miss Hawaiian Gardens. Our Miss Hawaiian Gardens 2015 is, and receiving a scholarship of $2,000 is Yvonne Gonzalez.
Thank you, Bashir. It's good to see the things that are going on in the city, and I encourage you guys to watch your cable channel so you can see the full programs. And what channel is that? 36? Channel 36? All right. At this point, are there any comments on any of this? I think there is.
I do want to congratulate Manny and Kevin on their great achievement. I know you've made me very happy. Congratulations on representing Guatemala, and good luck to you in Canada. Very good job. Thank you.
And I do want to congratulate Yvonne Gonzalez also on Miss Hawaiian Gardens. And I was not there that night, obviously. Who is the princess?
The princess is Marisela Nonato.
Congratulations to her as well. All right, at this point, I know you've waited a long time, especially if you've had something that you were going to present to the council tonight. But anyway, all that was good stuff. Does anybody have any oral communications that they'd like to present tonight to the council? Anything that you'd like to speak to that's on the agenda or not on the agenda? All right, then we'll move on to the agenda organization. And at this point, what I would like to do, so that I did say oral community. I just said that. Sue's just not on it today, man. I think you caught my cold. All right. She's testing me. All right. So we're going to do the agenda organization right now, and what I'd like to do is move to the Public Housing Authority meeting so that these two ladies can go home if they want to. So we can move the Public Housing Authority, and we need to conduct a public hearing and adopt a resolution number 2015-007 to adopt the annual budgets for the fiscal year 2015-2016 and fiscal year 2016 and 2017. So with that, we can open the public hearing. Is that what we want to do? Open the public hearing for the adoption of the budget. Oh, just open them all at the same time? Okay, so we'll do that. Let's move down to consent item B, presentation of minutes. Does anybody want to pull that to talk about anything? No? So if no one has anything to say on that, then...
I made a motion to approve.
I'll second. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and with that, then, well, I can't adjourn the meeting, though, right? Because it's still open. All right. Well, can I go ahead then and move the successor agency as well and just finish that one up and then move on to the... Okay. So let's go to the successor agency, RDA. There are 2 items on the consent calendar. Does anybody want to pull any of those?
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar in its entirety.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And with that, we will go ahead and open the public hearing for the approval of the budget for RDA, public housing, and regular city council. So do I need a second to open the public hearing?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Public hearing is open. Does anybody wish to speak to any items on the budget?
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So now I need to close these 2 meetings, right? Or no? Don't need to? Okay, discussion.
You know, if I may interject, we do have some representatives from Consolidated here. There's an item on the agenda. Right. So it's open. So it's too late.
We just closed the public hearing. It was fast. All right, so are we?
Yeah, we do have a presentation for council and the public.
In the public hearing. So we should just reverse what we just did and open it?
No.
I don't understand what you're suggesting.
The public hearing is to allow the public to address the council on the budget.
Mm-hmm.
No one really was interested in addressing the council, but we do have a staff report and there is a resolution for the council to adopting the budget. So at this point, staff can make a presentation, council can ask questions, and then you can entertain a motion to adopt the resolution approving the budget.
So we're conducting the public hearing and adopting the resolution to approve the city's annual budget for the fiscal year 2015, 2016, and the fiscal year 2016 and 17.
Correct.
All right. You'll have to forgive me tonight. My head is very foggy.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, sickness. And I hope that our community is feeling better than I am. Okay, so are there any questions, any discussions regarding the budget?
I think you said they have a report for us. Staff does.
We do have a presentation.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll defer to our finance director, Linda, if you could please take a look.
Thank you. Do you have the thing to turn this? And what do you push? This? That? Okay. There are some handouts to be given to each of you. One is a printout of the slide presentations, 3 to a page with a spot for notes in case you want to write any notes on there. And then there is another handout that I'll be referring to as we go through the presentation. As you know, this year the decision was made to implement a 2-year budget cycle instead of one. The plan there is to provide the city with the ability to look forward, to plan beyond this 1 year. And many places have found success with that, but what we will find is we'll still need to go back and reevaluate in 6 months, maybe sooner. We'll reevaluate again in a year, because all this does is force us to look out a little bit further, and that helps people think beyond today. So it is a 2-year cycle, a 2-year budget. Oops, did I make it? How do I make it work? Up at that. Oh, that? What button? See, I'm not good at this. Which button? That one? No, I didn't. Oh, there you go. Okay, thank you. This first slide is just a summary, our agenda that we're going to be following. This one is kind of busy, but this is a list of all of your funds and the balances that we project you'll have at the end of 15-16. If you look down there, that makes up a large total of $22 million. Here you can see what makes that up graphically. Your general fund is 80% of that total amount. 16% is your successor agency, money that you can't really use for your general operations. And then all those other funds that were listed on there make up 3.4% of your total fund balance. So the one we're going to focus on is our general fund, because that's the one that most everyone's interested in and is the 80% of your fund balance. So when we were putting this budget together, when the budget was being put together, revenues were projected out fairly conservatively. Because we don't know for sure what will happen as the construction continues, you might anticipate taking a conservative approach is what the city has done and help have a healthy financial status. There was a 2% growth for revenue for the 16-17 year that was projected. Expenditures also are fairly conservative. They're showing a, oops, sorry, back, that one. We're showing just a small increase, about 3% overall over the 2-year cycle. The reason for the increases in the expenditures are listed here. One is the proposed salary increase pending the final negotiations with the unions of 3% for the first year and 2% for the second. We have new programs that have been added. We've increased existing programs for the community. There are increases for maintenance and utility costs. You have it in your home life. You certainly see it in business also. But there were many reductions done in the departments, which kept it at a net 3% increase. We'll be reviewing these at least quarterly, actual to budget to actual, and make recommendations when we think amendments are necessary. This is just a quick look at your revenues. No surprise, your licenses and permits are your largest source of revenue. Of that $12 million, $11 million that's in that number is the casino. This is a breakdown of your expenses, your general fund expenses by function. So your general government, obviously your biggest one. You've got your city council, you've got your city manager, you've got your personnel, you've got the attorney, you've got all of those costs in there. That's 30% of your budget. The other major one is your human services, where you're giving back to the community in so many ways. Of your operating expenses that you have each year, your salaries and benefits for the employees makes up about 42% of your total expenses. This is a comparison to last year's budget. Sometimes people want to know, well, what have you actually done from last year to this? And here you can see that for your general government, you've actually had a reduction of about 8%, an increase in your public safety. Biggest one, public works, and I'm going to go through those with you. Human services, a slight increase. Community development, again, a reduction to show you that 3%. Here's a brief explanation on those changes. And the biggest one in public works is that we had to reallocate salaries. We allocate part of the public works salaries to the gas tax fund because their work is on road maintenance and other appropriate work. But because the revenues have been reduced in gas tax, we had to take some of those salaries back and put them back into public works. And that's one of your big changes. These are the summary of changes by department, and I think, Ernesto, you were going to review those?
Well, there is a list of items here by department. If council has any questions, we're prepared to respond, but we did review the information in detail at the workshop. One of the items that we didn't elaborate on was a proposal by the chamber to increase their services to our city and our business community. And yeah, I received a proposal from the chamber, and Scott was generous enough to work a proposal out with us where some additional services would be provided. Obviously, continuing a lot of the services they already do, the ribbon cutting, the attendance, at their functions, their invitations for us to participate in their functions, an annual business survey with an analysis. Host business watch meetings with the sheriff's department, an annual business luncheon. There's a business leader roundtable meeting being proposed. They would provide economic development, advising, and assistance, and 4 business focus workshops here in the city for our businesses. And a big part of the cost associated with the proposal would be to create a business directory, as been requested by a couple council members. So I wanted to touch on that. In the area of public safety, we discussed an additional deputy would be a special assignment deputy whom we would have much more control over in terms of scheduling and what focus areas we wanted them to focus on. And then the other item that I didn't touch on was another request for our local firehouse for us to replace the beds there. They're worn, and the request was made, and we were able to add that to the budget as well. Is there any questions this far? So once again, in the finance department, we're carrying over some monies that were budgeted to purchase a paperless archiving system. Our public works department, they're proposing to purchase another vehicle. The city's going to have to start paying for some of the maintenance of the RDA properties. There's some monies allocated for sewer maintenance, And then, like Linda mentioned earlier, the reallocation of staffing costs, salaries relating to gas tax. The general fund's going to have to absorb some of those costs. And in community development, there was no changes. Obviously, other than the fact that Joe's going to also play an important role in assisting me in my dealings with the Chamber of Commerce, with the business community. And then in human services, I think the majority of the changes are here. There's an increase to the Christmas tree lighting program of $10,000, an increase to the parade and carnival event of $10,000, Safe Community Month, $5,000, the Mayor Scholarship Program, an increase of $10,000. Activate Hawaiian Gardens was an additional $5,000 to provide expanded services at the high school level as well. And then there's an additional $5,000 that we allocated to the car show, basically because the cost overruns. So, and in terms of new programs, there's $10,000 allocated for a 3K run. And as mentioned at the workshop, there's some exciting programs in regards to outdoor activities with the youth, YMCA youth and family camping programs. And the next item is the reading programs for the local schools. We did meet with the superintendent and the director of schools, I believe. Mike, is that our title? Oh, curriculum. Yeah, so we're in the process of obtaining more information on how we're going to be able to work that out. But it appears that there may be some opportunities for the city to also run some type of reading programs out of our computer lab. So that has yet to be determined. But I don't know if Councilmember Gomez wants to comment on that.
Well, I guess just that, the Sergio, the principal from Artesia High School, has volunteered his staff to come and help oversee it because they're using that reading program at their school. So if we're using our libraries, that we could our computer labs, he could have his staff come down and oversee the training and make sure people are using it properly. Also, the Reading Plus program itself, they offer to put in money to help with it, because we want to also figure out a way that we can include adults into the program. We have a lot of adults who maybe need to brush up on their reading skills so they can improve their situation, and that they would provide, I believe he said, money for daycare, also for training that they would come and do at no cost for us and things like that.
Okay, the YMCA Youth Institute program, the Mathobotics program, some additional senior programming in terms of special interest classes, and a budget for the city to also operate a youth employment program.
Okay. Now, a lot of this, I know we've gone over in our two sessions. We've gone through a lot of this, so I'll go through them fairly quickly, but I broke these down just to make sure that there was some real clarity as to how these numbers play into the fund balance. You have your estimated beginning fund balance, your revenues, your expenditures, and there at the bottom you see the addition to your fund balance from operations. So this is all of the general government, public services, public works, human services, all of those expenditures are in there, and then all your revenues. And if that was all you did, you would be adding to the fund balance by these amounts of money. But then you have transfers that you're making. Okay, those transfers are to support other funds that can't support themselves. So we put a list of new programs up, but those are sort of like the same thing in that we are helping those funds. Section 8 is one that has to have it. We're helping those funds by transferring money into them. And some of them are for building reserves, such as the the CIP Reserve Fund, where we're going to be putting money away to build a reserve to be able to put new turf onto the Fetty Sports Complex. Your capital projects is your biggest one. And the one line item you see there, the $1,023,000, that is that Carson Street beautification project. That's the portion that is anticipated to be completed during this year. So those transfers now come out of the fund balance. And once you put those in, you can see that there is, on that next to the bottom line, instead of an addition to fund balance, there's a decrease to your fund balance of $2.3 million in 15-16 and $896,000 in 16-17. So just to be clear on how that money flows through and how we get to that balance. So there's our estimated fund balance as of the end of those years. But, and this is where one of your handouts comes into play, there's one of your handouts there that has GASB 54, and you're probably familiar with this, the auditors probably told you about it. GASB 54 came into effect, I think, 2 years ago, where what the auditors said is you have to identify those fund balances by non-spendable inventories, et cetera, committed, things that you say, we're going to use it for this. And then you have assigned and unassigned. And the unassigned is your free money to do with what you wish. So I put that information in case you're interested in reading on those. And in the back of that package is information on the committed reserves that you have identified and what makes up those. Because I know I was talking to someone about those reserves, and there was just a staff member, there wasn't a clarity as to what those were committed for. And so I printed these out because I thought it's a nice reminder for me and for anyone else that looks at this. This was the reason that $15 million was set aside. This is why that $750,000 was committed. So I printed those out just so that you would have them in case someone asks. You have the additional information. Maybe you already have it somewhere, but for me it was something that I thought was beneficial to see. So if you have committed these amounts of money, and you have one line item that is non-spendable, and those are advances to the successor agency. Those are receivable on your fund balance. They are not spendable. So the total amount that is unavailable is $18,471,000. So when you come and look at it this way, your fund balance is $18,405,000 after we take all the transfers and everything. You have a fund balance that is not available of $18,471,000, which means you are actually going to have to dip into those reserves by $66,000 in the one year and $962 in the other. Now, I put a little disclaimer down there. This is, in fact, based on budget numbers. That's all we have right now is budget numbers. So if the budget for this year comes out exactly like you budgeted, this is where you will stand if we do next year the way it is budgeted. Now, we are pretty sure that there's going to be a better finish for this year, but we won't know that until we finish the audit and complete that. So we will update you at that point, and then we can tell you exactly what these numbers will look like. But I thought it was important that there is an understanding that by making this approval, you are saying it is okay to use those committed funds if that's what we have to do. Hopefully we don't, but you're authorizing that. Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention is, as I've been trying to go through and work with this budget and work with the budgets to actuals, one of the things that I've identified is that there are some accounts where many things get put into those accounts, not necessarily making sense to me. So when someone asks me for information, I have to dissect everything to figure it out. So one of the things I want to work towards is developing a better way of reporting these things so that I and staff, department heads, can understand more what the numbers are trying to tell them and budget better, plan better, do some of their long-range planning a little bit better, which is going to involve me working with our GL accounts and departments. And so one thing that I brought in tonight for your consideration is a revision to the resolution that I had that was originally with this to replace Section 3 of that resolution. what it said in the original resolution was you had approved for the city manager to be able to move $5,000 between line items within within departments as long as the fund didn't change. My concern about locking it to the 5,000 is when I start redeveloping these accounts, I may need to move more than that in order to reallocate. So what I tried to state in there is that we may set up new accounts, we may need to set up new departments, we may need to set up new funds in order to be able to track correctly. In order to do that, then we're going to have to reallocate some of those budget numbers between those accounts. This reallocation would not change any totals. It would not change your total approved budget. It would not be put in place to implement new programs. It would not be for anything other than to make our reporting more clarity, have more clarity in our reporting. So I would like you to consider that when we are at the point to do our voting on that.
Just to clarify, so this would not have a limit any longer?
There would not be no dollar limit on it. There would be no dollar limit to be able to do that reallocation. So basically, we're not changing numbers, just reallocating. But in some cases, it might be more than $5,000 because I'm setting up a whole new account. Mm-hmm. So I may be moving all from one account to another one, but within the same, it's the same function, just a different name. For example, the way our salaries are currently set up, just to kind of help you understand, the way the salaries are currently set up, all the salaries for part-time or for staff, you know, get put into one lump sum, and then you've got your part-time people in a lump sum. But we have some part-time people who are not receiving benefits and some who are. By segregating those, we have a better idea of what those costs are. So, and I can have full-time salaried people, full-time hourly people, again, to make my analysis better so that I can give the management better information about where our expenses are. Same thing when I get down into some of the accounts. We have an account, and I know this is kind of detailed, but maybe it helps you understand what the impacts are. We have a contract services line. What I have learned is in contract services, we have a lot of stuff in there that's not really contract services. It's been put in there, but it doesn't really belong there. So I want to move that to what is more appropriate. So I take the amount from contract services, and maybe I split that into two accounts because they need to be separated so that then when I give it to a department head, he can see, she can see what it is that they actually spent their money on. So it's just to help us get better information. That's what we're looking for.
I appreciate your transparency in this manner. I was going to comment that in this particular budget, it seems that we have a lot more financial information than my previous cycle, and that things are more clear, or you're available to address more questions. However, it seems to me that the purpose for the $5,000, beyond that, anything beyond that comes to the council for approval. Is that correct? Currently.
Well, that's just to move it between the things, yeah.
Right. And I know it's going to take a while for you to get acquainted with your new job and make sure that the transfers are adequately correct. But I think in terms of our city manager, in terms of, you know, his credibility and integrity, in terms of that, this was put in place just to make sure that there's no, you know, changes made that may not be, you know, according to the council. Any financial situations are brought up before the council, and it's approved by the council, and he gets the assurance that things below above $5,000 have the council's approval. So it seems that although we appreciate the interest in terms of why you're proposing this, to give you more accessibility to make the transfers between the lines and everything, it seems that we might be setting up our city manager for some issues in the future as to why things were done in excess of $5,000 and not brought up before the council. It just seems to me that may prove an issue. I'm not sure what the other council members are feeling in regards to this new addendum that's been brought up before us.
I agree with you 100%, Councilmember Rios. There's no limit here above the 5,000 at all. There's no, so it could be anything, I guess. So there's no limit?
Well, I mean, you could put a limit in there. What I'm looking for is, when I read that description, my concern was, if I need to set up new accounts, new departments, new funds, can I make those changes and get it set up as long as I'm keeping all the monies the same? Or do I have to come back every time I want to set something up and come talk to the council? Which seems like it will become very burdensome and difficult to do that, because there is a lot of clarity that needs to be done in this, in the current reporting. If what you're concerned about is a dollar amount, we could certainly say that if the reallocation, it's okay to set up the accounts, but if the reallocation is more than 5,000 or 10,000 or whatever you want to set, maybe that's a compromise to allow me to still start moving towards this, but bringing stuff back to show it to you on a regular basis.
I mean, I know it's going to take you a while to get things straightened out. I know there was some issues previously to you, but I know Mr. Marquez has been has demonstrated integrity in trying to maintain the budget as is, and even still, there's some issues sometimes. So I'm not sure if this is a good idea at this point.
Well, I feel the same. I feel the same way because not only this protects you. If anything goes wrong in the future, or if any miscalculation, of course, the council will be responsible. So this protects everybody. I think if there is going to be any changes, I think it should be reported to the city council and let us vote on it.
And we're not a very hard council in regards to, making approvals. Mr. Marquez keeps a great contact with us at all times, and he updates us in regards to everything that's going on, as far as I've seen. Even below $5,000, he lets us know in terms of what has come up and everything.
Yeah, and I don't have any concerns with bringing stuff to approval. The only concern I have in the dollar limit is not a problem to me. The only concern I have is if I want to set up new GL accounts and segregate stuff, that's the kind of thing that I could be bringing stuff back constantly because, okay, I want to take these two line items and I want to split them, or I want to, and that is something that seems a little bit more detailed than maybe you're caring about. But, I'll work with you on however you want to. I just want you to understand, I wanted to at least bring it to you, that one of the things I really think needs to happen is we need to get some more clarity in the way that we are pulling numbers out. Right now it takes so much time to dissect rather than have it just be available. And so I'm going to be working towards that end. And if we could compromise and say, okay, we can set up these accounts, but the 5,000 is the thing that you want to see, that would at least give me a starting point.
Can I make a brief comment real quick? And I know we're focusing on a figure, but if we continue reading the sentence, it says $5,000 between lines and departments, as long as there's no impact to the fund balance. So can you elaborate upon that statement?
That was the original one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the highlighted one, is it?
The
original one says
I just got.
Yeah, that's yours.
That's yours. That's when I just.
Yeah, that's what it said, was as long as it didn't do the fund balance. And if you look at the revision, on the revised one, also what, where did I put that? Oh, here it is. What it says is that the reallocations may not modify the overall approved fund balance.
Right.
So nothing would
So what I'm trying to
change.
say, I guess my point is that essentially as a city council, we just went through the process of approving the budget, and we're budgeting per department in terms of what the departments are going to be spending. So we're not going to modify the budget, correct?
Right, we're not modifying the
We're not saying
budget.
that we're going to hire another contractor and that council's not going to get approval. Everything is being allocated. She's just saying for cleanup purposes, she needs this tool in order to get her job done so that upon next year, when she does present the budget, it's going to be cleaner, it's going to be more effective so that she could have an idea of where the funds are going and reports back to council, say, look, now I have an even stronger understanding of where funds are either allocated towards, how much is being spent. So to me, it's being viewed as a tool that you need. We're not going to manipulate or make any changes to the budget we're already approving. It's just cleanup.
Not working. Oh, and you're not going to, whatever you end up changing or moving about to clean things up, you're going to have it approved by city council in the end anyway. Or is that correct?
You will see them because what the plan would be is to bring you budget to actual presentations, and in those, and the goal would be to do those on a monthly basis to show you what the budget to actual is, and in that time frame then show you where those where those changes might have taken place. This has been replaced by this. Here's where this number separates. I mean, you can do as much reporting as makes everyone comfortable that nothing has happened that shouldn't have happened with those numbers.
So this is basically to just cut through a bunch of red tape so that you can get the job done more quickly.
Yeah.
To make a cleaner presentation.
Yes, it's to help me understand the numbers better and to also help the department heads understand their numbers better without having to, like you said, cut through some red tape, not changing anything, not increasing anything, not adding a new program, not hiring another person that hadn't been approved. So no changes to the budget concept, just the technical and detailed portions that I'm reporting off
The
of.
accounting portion.
So I think what it is also is that, as Linda mentioned earlier, it's to get the specifics, because you're saying that there's some categories that are very general and things are being tossed in it. And so now you want to extract that and say, look, I want the detailed information so that everyone across the board, has a strong understanding of what those numbers are, rather than just toss it in a category.
And it helps you budget better. This will be building towards budgeting better, because it is difficult to budget if you don't know for sure what's in there. And you say, oh, I spent this much, but you don't know what it is you really spent the money on. Then the next year you use the same number, but you don't really understand what it is that you budgeted on. And I mean, most of the department heads are really good, and they really know the stuff they're working on. But again, if we dump it into a category and they look at their totals and they say, oh, I'm almost at my budget here, do they really know? What we're reporting to them isn't necessarily the best tool for them. We need to come up with better reporting for them so that they can do an even better job of managing their budgets.
And it makes sense that this is coming up. I mean, obviously we have a new finance individual that's now replaced our old individual. And so when you have a transition, you're going to have different eyes on, the way that the budget's being viewed. And so you're going to have a different perspective. And so now she's obviously bringing her perspective and say, hey, you know what, this is something that might have been missing, and it's going to help our process overall. So.
As a public entity, we have to have transparency in anything that is done. So regardless of the limit or no limit that Mr. Marquez may have in regards to transferring between line items, that could be easily requested. That could be easily viewed. My view is in an effort to try to save time, we might create more problems in the future as to questions as to why these line items were transferred or not. Right now, we have a $5,000 limit. I don't think we've had concerns up to this point as to why. I recall last year, I made a request for $4,000. It didn't need to come before council, and yet he still brought it before council for approval. So I know we're trying to, it does seem easy. It does, I mean, I could hear your justification, but in regards to maintaining our integrity as a city and Mr. Marquez's fiscal responsibility, I don't foresee many things that we have beyond $5,000 that he needs to have more authority over. Or here in this particular amendment to the resolution, there's no limit at this point. So that is my point.
I don't like to bring this subject, but as you recall, about 5 years ago, there was money that appeared, and I think that was due because nobody knew where this money was. That was in the previous councils before us. So I'm concerned about something like that happening again. If we don't know where this money's been transferred to until the next fiscal year, I just don't. I think the city council should be informed of the different changes, the different transfers, or whatever needs to be done. It probably might be easier for you, but I think to keep us all out of trouble, I think the city council should be aware of where all these changes going on. And if anything happens in the future, we're going to be the ones be responsible for any errors being made. Not that there will be any, but at least we'll know where the money's at all times. The way it is now, we won't know until the next fiscal year budget.
Well, I do want to implement reporting, budget to actual reporting for you. You've done that in the past, have you not? Had budget to actual because what I'm accustomed to is bringing budget to actual numbers to the council. On a monthly basis is what you build to. It probably would be not that, probably quarterly to begin with, but I brought that to other cities, and that has been a real good tool for the council because you see every month what your budget to actual is. The department heads see every month what their budget to actual is. They're currently reviewing that anyway. They are reviewing. But we also would bring it to the council, so you would have that visibility. So regardless of how this, how you vote on this, that is a step that we want to take to be able to give you that tool for the just because of the transparency. You shouldn't have to wait till the end of the year to know where you stand on your budget. You should see that on a regular basis.
If I could add something. I'm sitting here thinking, well, maybe a solution to try to get this thing so that you can do it on a timely basis. We have a finance committee. Maybe you could report whatever changes you want to make to the finance committee, and if they don't have an issue with it, we'll move forward. If they do, you can bring it to the full council so that somebody sees it, so that they could,
That's a good solution. Yeah.
Plus, I think you still should have a report, a finance report, either when we make any changes. It should be in our agenda as other reports, we get from the development agents, from the development department, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
This way, the whole council is aware of what the changes are and how much, and actually why also. Why are we changing?
Okay.
We can incorporate it in the monthly report, right?
Sure.
Sure. Okay, so I'll call for the vote.
Are we still moving? We're still working on the budget.
What are we going to make some changes on this?
This
resolution or what?
I think it has to be separate, right? The changes?
Well, we're not voting on the resolution yet.
Oh, it's just proposed.
That was just a proposal.
Oh.
We're going to get to that, and you are going to be voting.
Okay.
Good job.
Right.
Yeah. and then you're going to vote, yeah. And the rest of this is very quick. I brought it up here because this is where we're looking at these numbers, and I wanted to bring it up at that point because how we report on those numbers now and what I bring to you is going to be key to make sure you know where you are. Here are your capital projects. Ernesto, did you want to address any of those? These are the capital projects.
If council has any questions, but we do have a substantial amount of projects that we are recommending to council. The Capital Projects Committee has met and has approved our recommendation. But just to go over some of the larger scale projects, there's a Carson Street beautification project which we're working on. The committee's been meeting and with architects, so that's moving forward. There's a proposal to install the park safety surface installation. That's removing all the wood chips at our local parks and installing the rubberized flooring there. Gosh, there's a whole series of them. Convert the current lighting to LED lighting, make them a little more efficient, hopefully brighter as well. Citywide striping. There's a commercial sign program for the business community that council had recommended for us to try and include. Pedestrian safety improvements on Norwalk and Tilbury is another important one. We've had a number of accidents in that area, and it's a public safety matter now, and we really need to do something there. But I think the last of the newer items is the installation of cameras, either at Carson and Pioneer or Carson and Norwalk. We're currently studying those options, but there's $75,000 allocated towards that project. But if there's any questions, I know there's an item on the agenda that I've asked the mayor to take off calendar, if council's okay with it. Unfortunately, Jill's not here. He's still out, and our city engineer wasn't able to make it either, so.
I do, maybe this isn't the proper time to discuss that, specifics, but the traffic signal upgrade in Norwalk and Vern Claretta, the light, everybody complains about the turn signal from Carson north onto, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Carson Street, my bad.
No, actually, you are correct.
Was that included?
That's a typo. That is a typo.
Okay.
It should be Carson, Vern, and Claretta.
Yeah, that left-hand turn light
Right.
takes forever. So maybe when at a future date, I think we should.
Yeah,
hopefully can
and
just throw into discussion. Maybe put one of those lights where you can turn on the green light if it's safe, type of thing.
Yeah, we've had issues with that intersection for a while. And unfortunately, the county maintains a lot of the intersections and lighting. So the minute you do some work at one intersection, then all of them get impacted somehow. So it's a challenge to change them at times. But obviously, we're seeking some additional monies, non-general fund money for this project. And if it gets, if we're able to successful in acquiring it, then that's one of the things we want to address.
What would an additional camera cost, do you know, more or less?
An intersection is roughly $75,000.
Per intersection?
Yes.
Well, you have there for 2 intersections, and what do we have?
So it'd be $75,000.
For 2 intersections?
For one intersection.
Oh, because I was thinking on 223 Norwalk, where we had so
Right.
many accidents there.
Right.
We had a couple of people get.
Yeah, and that intersection was just completely redone.
But still, it's a
Right.
very confusing intersection there, and we had a couple of fatalities there already. So I think that would be, should be considered putting a camera there also.
It's much better now.
It is.
Yeah, turning there and the traffic, it's much better. As long as people are watching the lights
Right.
when they cross.
The lighting and the audible, the crosswalk.
But don't you think that they should be using that material, the yellow material, for for the crosswalk. I mean, if you go, it's white, and you don't, and I went through it today, and it just doesn't seem like it stands up. And being white, I think it also gets dirty and this and that, and it just, you know, so we can't use that yellow material. What is it called?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure, Mr. Rodriguez. We can definitely look into it. The plastic stuff. Yeah, we can discuss it further when we review the capital projects and the engineers here.
That's just 16, 17, more of the same projects. Okay, is that it on the projects?
Is there any other questions?
Okay, and then we have our special funds. There's the list of all of the special funds that you have. And in this budget, you had 3 new proposed funds. We went over those at the meetings. These are mostly reserve funds where we're building reserves for something, or in the case of the CIP, it's to have a place to transfer funds in and hold them and then get them into CIP. The federal, state, and local CIP funding, this is one of those where I might feel the need to expand depending on what you have coming in. That one's kind of a catch-all for any grants that we have that don't have their own special fund. Depending on if you get a special fund that needs to be tracked separately, it may mean that you need a separate fund in order to meet the legal requirements. So then you have to set up a new fund. So those are some of the things that you sometimes have to do. This is just to kind of show you the expenses that each of these special funds have. And you can see the Section 8 is our biggest one. There's a lot of money that goes out for that. And these funds, during our budget cycle, our 2-year budget cycle, are the funds that require general fund support in order to function. They need money to be able to meet their requirements. And hopefully that wasn't too long, but maybe gave you some information that you can take home with you and review. Any questions on the budget?
I don't have any.
Hi.
Anybody? That's it. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. I know that there's an increase on the funds for Section 8. Can you elaborate on that? How are those funds will be used?
They support, you have costs for staff to be able to run that program. And there is a certain amount of money that you get from HUD to cover those costs, but it's not enough. And so we wind up having to use general fund money to help pay salaries, benefits, supplies, different things. There just isn't enough money that's received from HUD to support the current staffing and other administrative costs.
So pretty much for salaries and supplies?
Salaries and supplies to run the program, yeah. We get money from HUD for that. And Ernesto, speak up if you know more than I do. But
Referring to that additional money that?
Yeah.
We're having to general fund
okay.
support it.
Yeah, the general fund transfer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's general fund money that we use to offset the cost to operate the program. And like Linda mentioned, I mean, she's correct. You know, we use it predominantly for staffing and just, you know, general administration of the program. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure if I understood your question, because we did have a meeting with an auditor recently, and there was some additional funds that we were made aware of. Were you referring to that?
Well, not on this, but I remember, you know, last time that we had a meeting, I think the budget for this year was different than the coming year, and I wanted to know what would those funds, since it has increased, how are they planning to use those funds?
When you say it's increased, are you looking at the budget?
I don't have the information here. I turn in my book.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me get to it. You're talking about the total costs that were coming through. Let's see, your budget for this year was 1.4 million in expenditures, and this year it's only well, it's on 1.4 again, 1.39, so it's almost the same. So the amount that's being budgeted for expenditures is about the same.
What page are you referring to?
Page 82. And in each year, you budgeted for transfers, although it appears that the budget for the 12-13 and 13-14, the transfer was actually less than was budgeted. For 14-15, you've budgeted $100,000, which we recently did that transfer. However, there's additional transfer that's going to be required this year above the $100,000, it appears.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we will need to have more general fund money transferred before we close out 14-15 to cover the costs for that program. We haven't finished reviewing it. We're in the process of doing work with HUD to get the numbers all finalized, but it looks like we're going to have to spend more. And we're budgeting $152,000 transfer for the next year. Now, that's an estimate, and I don't know for sure if you'll use that, but that is what we're budgeting.
Yeah, if I can add, the money from Housing and Urban Development, the federal government, funds all of the Section 8 assistance. In addition to the Section 8 assistance, they provide an additional percentage, in addition to that, for administration costs. But every year, the feds keeps reducing the portion for administration. So the host communities have to backfill the amount of money that the feds are not providing for administration. So they're not really touching the portion that helps on the renters, but they are reducing the amount that goes to the communities for administration. Because the community such as Hawaiian Gardens has to hire staff to run the program. And it's that portion that the feds keep unfunding, basically. And this is why the general fund has to put money in order to cover the staff costs and the other costs for administration.
And I'm seeing maybe Alba's question in regards to, is there going to be an increase in terms of the vouchers, because we have such a huge waiting list in our city for housing, but it seems that the answer is no, unfortunately.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for answering.
I hope we answered it.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to comment again. Thank you for your presentation. I know that, in my view, we had two special council sessions on this on May 21st and May 28th to address any specific concerns or everything. So this was primarily for the community to become aware, and I think that you did an excellent presentation in regards to that. Thank you.
If there's no further questions, I'll make a motion to approve with the amended section that we, I think that was that.
But you amended the amended section. Remember, you added
I just
a compromise, which I thought was a very good compromise.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask, that we add that compromise.
Yeah, okay. Add the amendment to the amendment?
Unfortunately, Mr. Gomez, if maybe we can take it separately, because although I do approve for the budget, I'm not quite sure I support the amendment. So I would hate to not support the whole budget.
So let's just look at the budget then.
Can we just do it separately? Thank you.
The budget was approved, there was a motion to approve the budget. Was it seconded?
I'll second that.
Can you clarify the motion, please?
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the budget as presented.
Yeah, it's a little difficult because the resolution approves the budget, and within that resolution you have three sections. The finance director was requesting to amend section 3 of the resolution approving the budget.
Yeah, that's why I originally said with that amended that we talked about. So,
yeah.
So we have to. I'll approve that one at one time, right? That's what you're saying?
That's the way it's presented.
So you're saying we can't separate them?
We can't separate them. We can't take them individually.
For each meeting individually, but the resolution is for the city, and it's adopting the budget, the one that they're going to discuss.
With section 3 included in it, so you have to have that in there?
Well, or you can approve it subject to as amended, as presented, or as further amended by the council. So this is the time to entertain the resolution either as presented in your agenda or as proposed to be amended by the finance director, or you can discuss any additional amendments to the language.
I would support the one provided for us in the agenda. This was just given to us last minute. And I would hate to disapprove of the whole budget just because of this amendment.
Well, I think I originally asked to make a motion to approve, and I'm really confused with all these amendments. But
Mayor and council members, why don't we do this? If you want to vote on the budget, let's handle that, and then we will prepare a staff report and bring it back to you at a later date in terms of the amendment.
Okay,
I think that's the cleanest way to do it.
Yeah.
Then it's held separately.
Yeah,
Okay.
because, it was last minute, and that was a concern we had, but I directed Linda to go ahead and share her recommendation with you all anyways, if there was a interest to do it.
So
Fine. If not, we'll bring it
we
back.
are.
You're voting on the resolution
voting
as presented.
On the resolution without the amendment, correct?
Okay.
And then we can do that later. So,
I'll try
approving
again.
the budget as
I'll try
is.
again, yeah. Approve the budget as presented without the amendment.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Doesn't it have
Does
to
this
be
need to be a
roll
roll call because
Yeah,
it's
it's a lot of money.
Okay,
And this is for city council, because you need to do the same thing for the other agencies.
okay.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilmember Gomez?
Yes.
Councilmember Farfan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rios?
Yes.
Mayor Bruce?
Yes.
Motion carries. This was for the city.
So do I just go ahead and do each one then for, okay, so do we have a motion for the public housing budget?
No.
Yeah, but we need a motion. I make a motion to approve the
I'll
budget.
second.
And all the seconds it? Okay, all in favor?
Do a roll call.
We gotta do a roll call. Sorry. Roll call.
Director Bach?
Yes.
Director Mahar?
Yes.
Director Rodriguez?
Yes.
Director Gomez?
Yes.
Director Farfan?
Yes.
Vice Chairmember Rios?
Yes.
Chairmember Bruce?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, and for the RDA successor agency budget, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call. See, we did that one right, the third one.
Director Rodriguez?
Yes.
Director Gomez?
Yes.
Director Farfan?
Yes.
Vice Chairmember Rios?
Yes.
Chairmember Bruce?
Yes.
Motion carries.
So we will bring that amendment back to the next meeting, is that what we'll do? Okay, all right, good. Okay, so with that, we move on to the consent calendar. Oh, should we do a break?
These two meetings can be closed.
Yeah, that's right, okay, so let's go ahead and. So with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn the RDA successor agency meeting and the Public Housing Authority meeting to their next meetings, which will be held on Tuesday, June 23rd, 2015 at 6 p.m. We'll take a little break for readjustment here. Okay, we're going to go ahead to public hearing item number 1. We're doing everything all over the place. Conduct public hearing and adopt resolution number 036-2015 to authorize the recording of several liens against various real properties in the city of Hawaiian Gardens for delinquent rubbish collection charges. Consolidated Disposal Services Incorporated.
Okay. I mean, you've done this before? Have you done this before? Yeah. So you're familiar with what it is. What you have is some delinquent trash bills, and those delinquent bills are placed on the property tax rolls and collected via the property taxes. If someone goes to sell their property, then those taxes have to be, those delinquencies have to be paid if they haven't paid them, and that comes back to the city, or back to the consolidated disposal.
So they don't collect them at the end of the year or until they sell the property?
Well, Consolidated collects throughout the year, and then
Right.
some people don't pay.
Right.
And when they don't pay, and they reach the point where they put them into a delinquency status, then what they do, rather than continue to do the collections process and send them off to a collector somewhere where you might get the money collected and pay 50% in collection fees, you put those onto the property tax rolls. Most people, a majority of people, when the property tax bill comes, don't do a lot of analysis. They get the property tax bill, they pay the property tax bill, and so you get your money. But for those who don't pay their property tax bill, then you would not get your money until such time as that property sold, and whoever bought the property would have to pay those delinquencies before they could purchase the property. But most people will pay off the property tax bills. I don't know, do you look at yours closely?
So are you saying that that money is not on the property tax?
It will, if it's delinquent.
So if you want to, I mean, if you're gonna, you have to pay your property tax, and that's already added to your property tax.
Correct.
So at the end of the year, you have to pay it anyway.
Well, most people do, but some people don't pay their property taxes either.
Well, those are the people. They're gonna lose their home
I mean,
anyway, I
in
guess.
theory, by putting it on the property tax rolls, you take it out of the collection rolls. You don't have to pay a collector. And most of those will get paid because people will pay their property tax. You will have some who won't,
and I
but
see-
it isn't
yeah,
your money anyway. It's Consolidated that collects
Right,
that
but,
money.
you know, it's, I looked at the list, and there's quite a few people that don't pay their, some of them
Yeah.
all the way up to $400 and some dollars, $490 they owe the trash company Consolidated.
And Councilman Rodriguez, some property owners may be deliberately doing this because a couple of things. If they have a mortgage, this comes out of the impounds. Even if they don't have a mortgage, they treat it as property tax and they deduct it on their income taxes. So they get a separate benefit. You're not supposed to because it's not real property tax. It's a separate assessment, but it comes on your property tax bill. So they actually may find that this is the way they prefer to pay the rubbish taxes, and it's not taxes but fees. And the reason we can do this is because our municipal code does not allow Consolidated to stop collecting trash. So trash has to be collected whether the property owner is paying or not. And so this is why we have this process, because to the extent that they're not paying, in return for requiring Consolidated to collect the trash even though they're not being paid, we've agreed to collect it on the tax rolls in this manner.
Okay. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah. And there's, does not appear that there's anyone here to speak to this public hearing.
So I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we need to make a motion to approve this.
If there are no further questions, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we will move on to the consent calendar. Does anybody wish to remove anything from the consent calendar? Aside from
yes.
number 6, which will be moved
C2
to
and C3.
C2 and 3?
Yeah.
Okay, if there are no further, I'll make a motion to approve the remainder of the consent calendar in its entirety.
Now, we are moving 6. We're tabling 6 until Joe's available, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and make that again, I'm sorry.
Once again, I'll make a motion to approve the remainder of the consent calendar in its entirety.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, C2, adopt resolution number 039, 2015 to approve pre-issued warrants and regular warrants in the amount of $188,457.38.
I have a question on page 21. The trash assessment to consolidated disposal for the amount of $7,567. I know we have gone through this before, so could you please explain that again for the public and myself?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but what that is when the money is collected from the county on the property tax rolls, they send the money to us. It gets deposited in our account, all the money collected from the property for property taxes and assessments. We then have to pay consolidated for the amount that was related to trash.
And what is the reason for that? I mean, I know all the cities do this.
Well,
I mean, this is something that was imposed on us at the beginning of the contract?
This was related to the thing we just discussed, which was, and Omar explained it very well, and I wasn't aware of that, but because they can't stop collecting trash, we have said we will put it on the property tax rolls for them, because we can do that, so that they can collect their money for those delinquent accounts. But the controller, the auditor controller, sends all those monies to the city. So we get all that money that's been collected. We then have to pay consolidated the portion that is related to the tax assessment, the trash assessment. So all of these that we just put, that we're going to put on the tax rolls, you know, all those that we just put on the tax rolls, then they'll get on the tax rolls in July, August. They'll be due in December. So starting in December, we'll start getting some money in, and some of that money will belong to Consolidated because it's related to those assessments. And that's what this is paying them for assessments that have been collected on their behalf through the county auditor controller.
So the monies they are collected on the property tax doesn't go, I mean, the assessment, like you said, the money that's collected for Consolidated doesn't go directly to Consolidated. It goes,
No.
It comes back to the city, and then in turn we have to pay them.
Right. Because they're not a public entity and they can't put assessments on the tax rolls. We can, and so we do that, but the money that's being collected isn't the city's money, it belongs to Consolidated. So we become a pass-through for them. Am I explaining that correctly? So that's all it is. We're just handling the money for them.
And this amount is what it amounts to on all the taxpayers that own the money. I mean, if you add it all together, that's what it amounts to, 7,000?
Well, what you get is different amounts every month. It depends on when people pay their property taxes and how many people pay. So that would represent all of the assessments, but it would represent whatever has been paid, and according to this, it's what was paid in March. So it's whatever we received in the month of March as payments from the tax collector. So that's only a portion. You probably see it other times on these reports too, because we have to pay it to them anytime we collect it.
So they collect, what, twice a year? Oh.
Well, property taxes are due twice a year, but they come in throughout the year. They don't come in just twice a year. You get the bulk in December, January, and then you get a bulk, you know, it's due again in April, so usually it's by June, because I think it's delinquent in June. So in June is when you get your big hit. But they filter in throughout the year, you get monies.
Because I know there's several of the residents will pay their bill before the property tax comes out. So what happens there?
Then it comes to us. The auditor controller sends us the money whenever they receive it. So if somebody pays their property tax before the due date, we get the money. If they pay it after, we get it then. Whenever people pay the auditor controller, they submit the money to us, and if some of that money belongs to Consolidated, we pay them.
Because this money will go directly to Consolidated. If a resident decides, well, I better pay before my taxes come, they pay directly to the Consolidated.
Consolidated.
How's that taken care of?
If they pay Consolidated directly, Consolidated, I believe the function there is they notify us that they received that payment. And if it's not too late, we can take it off this list. Like if we find out before August, I think it's August 7th or something, we have to have this list in. If we get that information before that is due, we'll take it off the list and it won't go on their property taxes. So if they pay Consolidated before we send it to the county, we'll take it off. Once it's gone to the county, I believe what Consolidated will do is send it back because they can't collect it at that point, and then it has to go through the county.
And to further answer your question, the contract does not require this, the municipal code requires it. So the code has been written that way since 1985. It specifically states that if someone doesn't, it specifically says that the contractor will continue to collect the waste, and that the city or the delinquent fees will be collected on the tax rolls. So that's in our municipal code. So if we were to change that, we have to change our code in order to do that.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Actually,
the
I have a
warrant.
question before we move forward. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, for pulling this item. Just a quick question to Mr. Gomez in regards to the Ballet Folklorico. I know that there's a refund, but what is going on with the Ballet Folklorico?
Yes, we have interviewed 2 potential candidates to serve as the instructor, and we have a few interviews lined up for next week. So we're confident that we'll find a replacement shortly in order to reestablish the program. Meanwhile, we have informed our participants who were enrolled that they have the option of remaining on board for the next session, or if they choose to get reimbursed, we would reimburse them their full amount.
Shortly means different things to different people. Shortly means a week, 2 weeks. What does shortly mean to you?
Well, maybe in the next month. We've interviewed 2, as I mentioned, and we have 2 lined up for next week. So we're very confident that between those 4, we will make a decision on the candidate that we feel would be best fit for the future of the program.
Thank you, because that's a very successful program, from what I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else on the warrants? All right, I make a motion that we approve them.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Roll call.
Oh, yes, thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilmember Gomez?
Yes.
Councilmember Farfan?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Rios?
Yes.
Mayor Bruce?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Consent item number 3, adopt resolution number 040, 2015, to call for the holding of a general consolidated municipal election to be held Tuesday, November 3rd, 2015, for the election of 2 council members as required by the provisions of the laws of the state of California relating to general law cities.
I just pulled this item for public information to let our community know when is it going to be, and more or less information to the candidates.
If I may just speak on this, it is in our newsletter. It has been since January, so every newsletter comes out. It's got the dates that the candidates can pull papers, the nomination papers, and information regarding this. And I think it is also on our website, so we want the public to be very informed on this.
What is the date, just so that we can say it, of to pull papers?
I believe it's July 13th through August 7th. I might be a little off on the date. I'm pretty sure that's the date, but I will get back to council with the correct dates if
So
I'm
it's
wrong.
quickly coming up anyway.
Yes, it
so
is,
if
quickly,
anybody is
yes.
thinking about running, they need to get their stuff together, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If I could speak up just a moment, please, if you haven't registered to vote, please do so. You can do it online, you can do it, we have voters registration cards here, we have them at the post office, But please vote, get registered to vote, because you have until like October to register, but the sooner you get it done, the better you are. And so we'd encourage everybody to register to vote. And we have approximately 4,600 registered voters in the city, and they need to get out and vote too. So just come out and vote, and you do your civic duty.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, we'll move to discussion items. I presented something here kind of at the last minute, and you have it in front of you. It's a request from myself to provide a monetary donation to Fetty International Studies Academy for the rental of a tent for the graduation ceremony upcoming this next week. When I attended the what's that? Oh, you're going to intervene before I even finish reading this?
No, I'm going to let you finish, and then we'll talk about how we add it to the agenda for today.
Oh, okay. Anyway, at an event that I went to, Fetty, to honor them as a school of choice, I remember distinctly us all, the speakers and the dignitaries, being under this beautiful shaded area while all the students sat in the quad in the hot and blistering sun for the whole time. We were there to honor the students, and yet they were cooking while we were doing our program. And so I just thought that that was not a good thing. And of course I found out that they're going to be doing their graduation in the same spot. Here we are honoring students again, and they don't have the funds to have a tent in the quad. So I asked Ernesto if we had enough money to do something about that, and apparently we have the money available. We just need a vote from City Council. So go ahead.
Yeah, so under the Brown Act, you can add an item to the agenda as an urgency item if the item arose after the posting of the agenda and the City Council by 4/5 vote adds it to the agenda as an item that needs to be acted upon today. So you need a motion and a second to add it to the agenda, and then if 4/5 of the council agree, then it will be agendized today, and then you can go on and discuss the item.
So I'll make the motion to add it to the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Thank you. Any discussion about this?
I think it's a great idea.
Motion to approve.
Well, hold on. The request is for a donation of up to $2,500. They are costly. It's a 40-foot by 100-foot tent for the ceremony. It will be held on Wednesday, June 17th at 9 a.m. We have checked a couple of other prices as well that were lower, although the tents were sectional tents. One was as many as 6 tents put together. One was 2 tents put together. This is 1 tent. So I don't know if we want to discuss all that, or if we want to just go ahead and try to get the best price that we can, up to $2,500.
I'm yielding to you. I do not, I mean, I know that we're trying to do something good for Fetty, but at the same time, we don't want to seem, I can't think of a better word than tacky. So if we can go ahead and, yeah, you know, I'm sorry, the good service will be defeated in that sense, meaning the seating and everything around. So if this is 1 tent, $2,500, I think it's a great service to the students.
So quick question, is this going to be at the sports complex or
in the quad?
In their quad, okay. So I just want to make sure in terms of layout and everything like that, and do we have any concern if it is in the sports complex, you know, on the grass?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. It would be nice, actually, eventually, maybe to consider actually putting in a permanent roof over that area, you know, because when you look at the price of this tent, if this is a yearly thing, I mean, you know, you could build it probably. I don't know what it would cost, but
that, or you're seeing a lot of entities, what they have is like just kind of shaded canvas that goes over, and I don't think that's as expensive, but that's definitely an idea to consider in the future.
So then, shall I just go ahead and make the motion as it's written?
I'll make a motion to accept.
And can I
resolution
get a
as
second?
is.
I will second it.
All right, all in favor?
I have one question.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
How do we come up with the 40 by 100? Is that going to include a space for the parents to be out of the sun as well, or is it? No?
I would hope so. They provided me with the dimensions, and actually the dimensions they provided me with were a little smaller than the 40 by 100. I want to say it was 30-something by 80, so it's a bigger tent than they had requested, so.
That was, yeah, just because it
And they
is,
said
it
they
is
would
on
make it
blacktop,
fit,
so I was just thinking.
Yeah, he talked to the principal, so hopefully he's considering all things.
Okay, I'm happy with it, too.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Is there any new business? All right, there's no closed session. Is there oral staff reports? Oral council reports?
I just have two items. I just wanted to let everybody know that the Hawaiian Gardens Little League is having a fundraiser golf tournament on July 24th at the Skylinks golf course over by the Long Beach Airport. Early bird signups are $95, and I think it goes to $105 after the July 16th. So I mean, all this money will be used to defray the cost for the kids in the community to be able to participate in the program. So I encourage anybody who plays golf, who knows anybody who plays golf, let them know. You know, there's all kinds of sponsorship opportunities available. They can contact Frank Amaro, the league president, or Steve Gomez. He's helping him out on his off time. Okay, and then we did have this motion that we just passed about the canopy. I just want to congratulate all the kids for completing another year of school, and especially all the graduates who are graduating, both Betty and Artesia. Thank you.
So just real quick, myself and Councilmember Rodriguez attended the Pathways 30th anniversary celebration, and I informed them that we'd like to invite them to our next council meeting to actually provide them with a proclamation in celebration of all the services they provide them. So if we could potentially get that done in accordance to the next council meeting, that'd be great.
Seconding Mr. Gomez's comment, I know that I was a little bit late to this meeting because I was in Chino celebrating one of my nephew's graduation. He graduated from high school and will be going to college, so I want to congratulate Jaime Donate for your great achievement. That's the first step in my view, high school graduation and then moving on to college. And then of course that on June 17th at 9 a.m. will be the Ferry middle school graduation, and then at that same day at 7 p.m. will be the Artesia graduation. As you saw, I was about to say Killingsworth Junior High School, which is where I graduated from, but it's now Ferry. Thank you.
Well, I wanted to thank all the church volunteers and the staff that participated in the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, and for the over 200 people that we had attend. It was a great opportunity to just share faith and to have an opportunity to pray and to seek God's face on behalf of the city. So I was very pleased with the turnout. Look forward to future prayer breakfasts in the years to come. Also, enjoyed the Mayor's Walk of Achievement today, and congratulations to all the recipients and to all those amazing students that received monetary gifts for their excellence in education. Hats off to our new Miss Hawaiian Gardens and Princess. And this is a busy time, crazy busy time with all the graduations and things like that. But all the accomplishments, I just want to wish a good future to all of those graduates and the places they're moving to, and just pray that God's blessing be upon them. Also want to just well wish Turner Christian High School. They've had 17 years, 65 graduates in their organization's history. They dissolved this year, It's been a fantastic opportunity to minister to people in this community. And so we thank the Way Out Ministries, and we thank my wife, Terrell Bruce, who founded the school. And there are 65 gracious kids who have moved into many different areas of life, and some have gone on to college, some have gone into military careers, civilian careers. And so it's been a blessing. So just want to, with that, adjourn the meeting to the next City Council meeting, which will be held on Tuesday, June 23rd, 2015 at 6 p.m.